I want you to picture the most important morning of your life. The flowers are perfect. The dress fits like it was made for your skin, because it was. Your mother is dabbing mascara off her cheeks in the corner and trying to pretend she isn't crying. Your bridesmaids are buzzing around you, fixing your veil, squeezing your hands, laughing too loud the way people do when joy is almost too much to contain. That was my morning. That was supposed to be my whole day. My name is Claire, and I got married in September. Or at least I was supposed to. I had been with Daniel for 2.5 years. We met at a work conference in Chicago, the kind of accidental meeting that feels scripted in retrospect. He was confident, attentive, the kind of man who remembers the small things: your coffee order, the name of your college roommate, the anniversary of your dog's death. I fell hard, and I fell fast. And when he proposed on a rooftop in New Orleans with a ring that had belonged to his grandmother, I said yes before he finished the sentence. We planned the wedding for 14 months. Every decision, every centerpiece, every argument about the seating chart, we did it together. Our guest list was 212 people. The venue was a restored Victorian mansion 40 minutes outside the city. We had a live jazz band, a 4-tier cake, and a photographer who had shot 3 celebrity weddings. It was going to be perfect. I want you to hold that image, because what happened next is something I still can't fully explain without my hands starting to shake. It was 11:47 in the morning, 43 minutes before I was supposed to walk down the aisle. My phone buzzed on the vanity table. I almost didn't look at it. My maid of honor, Jess, actually reached for it to silence it, but something made me hold out my hand. I don't know why. Instinct, maybe? Or whatever part of your brain operates below logic? The message was from a number I didn't recognize. No name, just a series of photographs and 3 sentences beneath them. My name is Renee. I've been trying to reach you for 6 weeks. The man you're about to marry is already married to me. The room didn't go quiet dramatically. Jess was still talking. The makeup artist was still unpacking a brush. The world kept moving at exactly the same speed it always had. And I was standing completely still inside it, staring at my phone screen, feeling something cold and slow spreading through my chest, like ink dropped into water. The first photo was a wedding portrait. Renee in a white dress, Daniel in a tuxedo, laughing, radiant, dated 3 years and 4 months ago, 4 months before he and I ever met. The second photo was a marriage certificate, state of Ohio, fully notarized. His signature, unmistakable. I had seen it on our mortgage application 2 months before. The third photo was of 2 small children, a girl and a boy, maybe 5 and 3 years old, standing in a backyard I had never seen, holding a man's hands on either side. That man was Daniel. I set my phone face down on the vanity table. Very slowly, very carefully, like it was made of glass. And then I took one long, even breath. Here is what most people expect me to say next. That I collapsed, that I screamed, that mascara ran down my face and my bridesmaids caught me and we all agreed together to cancel everything. That is not what happened. I picked my phone back up. I replied to Renee, "Are you here? At the venue?" She responded in under 30 seconds. "I'm in the parking lot. I drove 6 hours. I didn't know if you'd believe me." I told Jess I needed 2 minutes alone to breathe. I walked out of the bridal suite, down the back hallway of the mansion, through a side door, and across the gravel lot, in my wedding dress, in my heels, with my veil still pinned to my hair. The gravel crunched under every step. Renee was sitting in a gray Honda with Ohio plates. She had dark circles under her eyes and a manila folder on her lap, and the expression of a woman who had rehearsed this conversation 100 times and was still terrified of it. We sat in her car for 18 minutes. She showed me everything: the marriage certificate, original, their joint lease, birthday cards Daniel had sent her children signed Dad, text messages from as recently as the week before, our week before, the week of our rehearsal dinner, where he told her he was traveling for work and he'd call the kids on Sunday. 2.5 years. A secret family in Columbus, a woman who thought her husband was just going through a rough patch, children who drew pictures of their father for the refrigerator. By the time I got out of Renee's car, I had already decided what I was going to do. I walked back through that side door. I found Jess, and I told her exactly what I needed from her, quietly and without crying, and I watched her face go through about 12 emotions in 4 seconds. She started to ask questions, and I held up one finger and said, "Not yet. I need 40 minutes. Can you give me 40 minutes?" She gave me 40 minutes. I called my cousin Marco, who works in corporate litigation. I told him what I had. He told me to photograph everything, every page of every document in that folder. I did. I called the venue coordinator and asked her one very specific question about the audio system and the wireless microphone setup. Then I fixed my makeup. I reattached a loose pin in my veil. I picked up my bouquet, and I walked down the aisle. Daniel was standing at the altar when I appeared at the end of the nave. He smiled, that wide, easy smile I once thought was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. He looked relieved. He probably thought I was running late for ordinary reasons. Nerves, buttons, mothers crying. He had no idea. The ceremony proceeded as planned. The officiant spoke, the vows were exchanged, his first, then mine. I said them. I meant every word I had originally written, and now each sentence landed in my mouth like something burnt and ash gray. I got through them. I kept my voice steady. I kept my eyes on his face, and I read every micro-expression, every flicker, every moment where the man standing across from me almost looked like the person I thought I knew. He did not flinch once. He smiled through the entire thing. That told me everything I needed to know about who Daniel really was. The reception began. Cocktail hour, champagne, laughter echoing off the marble floors. The band played Coltrane. 212 people ate past appetizers and told each other how beautiful the ceremony was. And then came the toasts. Daniel's best man went first. Funny, warm, exactly what you'd expect. Daniel's mother cried. My dad gave a speech that made half the room reach for their napkins. Then the MC asked if anyone else wanted to say a few words. I stood up. I walked to the front of the room and I took the wireless microphone and I smiled at my husband, my brand new, still legally married to someone else's husband, and I said in the clearest voice I have ever used in my life, "Before we cut the cake, I want to share something with everyone here because I believe the people who love us most deserve the truth." The room settled into that particular quiet that happens when people sense instinctively that something has shifted. A glass clinked somewhere and was immediately still. I told them about the message, about the parking lot, about the folder, about Ohio, about the two children who called my husband Dad. I watched the color leave Daniel's face in real time. I watched it happen slowly, like a tide going out. His mother made a sound I have never heard a human make before. I did not raise my voice. I did not cry. I simply laid out the facts, the dates, the document, the photographs that were at that exact moment being passed from table to table by Jess and two other bridesmaids, printed on cardstock from the venue's business center during cocktail hour. Then I set the microphone down on the table. I walked to where Renee was standing. I had asked her to come inside during cocktail hour, and she was in the back of the room next to the service entrance, still holding her manila folder. I handed her my bouquet. I told her I was sorry. I told her none of this was her fault. I told her my cousin Marco's card was paperclipped to the inside of the folder and that he would take her case pro bono. Then I looked at Daniel one last time across a room full of 212 people who were completely, utterly silent. I said, I'll be filing for annulment on Monday. And I walked out. The next weeks were a demolition site, and I was both the building and the crew. The annulment was straightforward. A marriage entered under fraudulent terms doesn't hold up. Marco handled it. Renee filed for divorce in Ohio and took the children to her sister's house in Pennsylvania. Daniel's employer, a financial firm, which made it beautifully ironic, placed him on administrative leave pending an HR review because when 200 people witness something at a wedding, the story travels fast. My family was devastated. My mother didn't speak for 3 days. My father made a phone call to Daniel that I was not present for and never asked about. But here is the part nobody warns you about: the grief. Because even when someone is a fraud from the very first moment they shook your hand, the love you felt was real. You built it from something genuine inside yourself. And losing it, even when you're the one who walked away, even when you're the one who made the righteous choice, it costs something. It costs a great deal. I moved into a short-term rental. I cried exactly twice, once in the shower the night after the wedding, and once 3 weeks later when I found a birthday card Daniel had written me tucked inside a book on my nightstand. The kind of card that sounded so sincere it could have convinced anyone. It almost convinced me, for about 30 seconds, that maybe I was wrong. And then I remembered the children drawing pictures for the refrigerator. I threw the card away. It's been 7 months now. Renee and I still text occasionally. We are not friends. The geometry of what we shared is too strange for that. But we check in. She's doing better. The kids are in therapy. She went back to work. I am doing better too. Slowly, in the way that real recovery moves. Not in a straight line, not on a schedule, but forward. Undeniably forward. People ask me if I regret not walking away quietly, if I wish I had just slipped out the back and canceled everything without the scene. Honestly, no. Not because I wanted spectacle, not because I needed revenge for its own sake, but because 212 people flew and drove and dressed up and showed up to witness what they were told was a celebration of love. They deserved to know what they were actually witnessing. And Renee drove 6 hours with a manila folder and dark circles under her eyes because she deserved to not be invisible. Some truths are too heavy to swallow quietly. Some rooms need to hear them out loud. I don't know what love looks like for me next. I don't know when I'll be ready or what it will feel like when I am. But I know this. I walked out of that room with my name still my own, with my integrity intact, with my head up, and nobody can take that from me. If this story made you feel something, if it made you angry or sad, or quietly proud of a woman you've never met, hit that like button. It means more than you know. And subscribe, because the stories I bring here are real, they are raw, and they are just getting started.